Freddie Freeman is the hero in Game 1 of the World Series, the first ever walk-off grand slam in a World Series game. Brett is in Sayville. I am in Queens. Bob Walters, Brett Grosso, Locked Up Sports, getting you ready for Game 2. Brett, what's up?
Freeman, man, let me tell you, that was kind of incredible.
Yeah, I first one. I'm surprised it's the first one ever. Although I guess not really. There's been a lot of grand slams lately. In this, actually, at least in this.
I don't think Yankee fans are seeing him as a hero today. I don't think. But he's got a lot of storylines. Nice every good run's got good storylines, and Freddie Freeman with his son. If you didn't know, mid-season he had to take time away from the team and go be with his son, who is very sick, recovering now, doing well. Then all of a sudden he's hampered with leg injuries, very similar to Kirk Gibson, which we'll get to in just a few. Yeah. And then then you look, and then he rounds the bases after the home run, and he comes and greets his father at the netting. He's there with his father.
I like what they said. What'd you say to your father? He goes, I don't know. I think I just screamed in his face. I'm sorry, Dad.
That was the best. That was the best. Sorry, I just yelled. I was just screaming in his face. But,
so now we would just say, now, listen, there was a lot of that was the, it would have been more devastating of a loss, I think, for the Dodgers than it is for the Yankees, right? The Yankees if they win tonight, you're back even, you're good to go. It's not that big of a deal. I think if the Dodgers lose one of these two games, then they're in trouble. You basically in a 7-game series, you don't want to lose 2 games in a row.
This is very same situation the Mets were in the NLCS with them. If the Yankees go and win this game, the series is honestly in the Yankees' favor at that point. You can win either game. The problem is the pressure's on both teams now because the Yankees can't be losing the second game. You don't want to be going down 0-2 home. I don't care how good you are. That's just not really what you want to do.
Well, no, especially in the 2-3-2 format, because then they have to sweep the 3 games at home. Yeah. And it's tough to sweep 3 games at home. It's hard to beat the
most
Marlins.
Likely. Exactly, especially when you start playing teams like the Dodgers, and best case scenario is what, 2 out of 3. Typically, you've seen in the past, like some games are almost like. Not that you're punting them, but there's games where they're gearing up. They're going for you in this game. The best pitching, the best relievers, and there's other games where like, oh, we need rest. So, if you don't get this game right now, whatever team that is going to have a really tough battle.
Yeah, and 2 out of 3 means that if the Yankees if they lose tonight and then they take 2 out of 3, it means they have to win 6 and 7. Back in LA, and they're not going to do that. Just like the Mets had to do that. Mets had a chance because the Mets lost 2 out of 3. That's the problem with the Mets. They lost 2 out of 3 at home after splitting, and then they had to win 6 and 7. And you're not going to win 6 and 7.
The key is to split now. 2 out of 3 at home. You win games 6 or 7, and honestly, you could take it either way. Because you just need to win one, which anybody can win any of these games. But that Dodgers offense was stagnant last night early. Garrett Cole, absolute, lights out performance.
So was Flaherty, though.
Unbelievable.
Flaherty only made one mistake, and it was to Stanton.
Flaherty made one mistake, that same mistake that everybody's made to the same guy, throughout the postseason, and who keeps stepping up, and that's Stanton.
He's just an October player, because you know what? The Yankee fans, the Yankee fans. Right. He's old, he's injured, they're running him out of town the whole season, and then he gets here, and then he hits that was a monster home run he hit last night.
He's a little bit of an effort guy. It's very hard to get effort out of Stanton in June, July, August, but all of a sudden, this Stanton's like, oh, you're telling me I can just go 100% right now. If Stanton went 100% all year, he wouldn't be playing today. That just doesn't work. He doesn't work that way. Now you got him somewhat healthy, and he's going full out, and for whatever reason, he got into pitchers' heads of, we're worried about Soto, we're worried about Judge, and nobody cared about Stanton. I mean, he's on the radar now, but they keep throwing him, something. He just gets hitting balls out of the park. So
I don't have a problem.
Need a little bit of help.
I don't have a problem with what Boone did yesterday. Maybe pulling Cole out a little bit early, hit a low pitch count.
80, a little bit early, 80 pitches.
But the thing you would have left him in. But he wasn't going to pitch into the 9th, right? In the 9th, I don't have a problem with him putting Cortez in, because you know what? It was lefty. He would have only had to get 1 out had they not walked the leadoff hitter. That's where they lost the game. Is they walked the leadoff hitter. You get the guy on because they had to get somebody on to get to Ohtani to the plate, right? He came in to get Ohtani. He got Ohtani, 1 pitch. And then the next pitch, he just, he grooved the fastball, and Freeman was sitting dead red, and he just killed it. So I blame Jake Cousins for that.
So, all right, well, this is what I'd say are the mistakes Boone made. One was definitely taking Cole out after 6 innings with 80-something pitches. The guy was just untouchable. At that point, he had 4 hits, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run. Next one, bringing Nestor Cortes in, but the big one is walking the bases loaded.
You had to walk Betts. You were going to walk Betts even now. Let me ask you this: if the kid who makes
it's a toss-up, numbers wise, with the bases loaded or in the postseason, let me tell you, Freeman hasn't been good for the last few
but he's
weeks.
Hurt, and it's lefty. He's hurt. He didn't play half the Mets series. I don't have. My question to you is:
my big problem is not bringing Hill in. You got to bring Tim Hill.
When the guy makes the catch. When the guy makes the catch on the Ohtani foul ball, goes into the stands, so the base runners get the extra base, right?
Great catch.
So when they get the extra base, now you have first base open. If he didn't go into the stands and first base, it was first and second and not second and third, do they walk Betts?
I think so. I think that was the setup. I think the whole point of bringing Cortes was to face the lefties, and he's going to face 3 batters. So you got a lefty, you got a righty. We're going to walk him. I think he was, the problem with at that point is if you don't walk Betts, like you're got to have a tough at bat. You might walk Betts anyway, first of all. So you can have a tough at bat with him, but then you got to face Freeman anyway. So you might as well just get rid of one of the guys and put him on base. And I'm honestly okay with walking him. I just don't think the right pitcher was in. Nestor Cortes is coming off of injury. He has not pitched in a month. He is not a reliever. And you have a guy in Tim Hill who has proven as out of nowhere, because he hasn't honestly, is good, and they needed to bring him in. It's just very odd. I don't like starters who aren't proven as relievers coming in those situations, especially ones that are cold.
Yeah, but he was coming in as a reliever anyway, right? He's not starting this series. That was a known thing.
No,
he said he was going to.
He's not, but that's what happens. You put him on the roster. That's what he's there for. You want the lefty-lefty matchup. Is that what you were waiting for? Well, that's what we waited for. It didn't work, Boone. And honestly,
but what are you going to do? It's just like
I think you bring in a lefty reliever. I don't think you bring in a lefty starter. I think you bring in a lefty reliever. Someone ice cold who hasn't even seen outside of a bullpen session. That's all that they've been throwing.
But you can make the same argument for Freeman, right?
Hill's
hurt.
been out there in the postseason. I'm sorry. Hill's been out there in the postseason battling, and that's what you need. You can't just go, oh, here you go. We did that with Kodai Senga. How'd that work out?
Now, I think I might be in the minority here. The Joe Davis call, the home run call, she is gone. They're trying to be, Vin Scully, 36 years to the day, everything like that.
To the minute.
No, you know was it really?
No,
I didn't know that.
8:37 on the dot.
Oh, really? I don't think this thing is that very similar to Kirk Gibson's. First of all, Kirk Gibson had one at bat the entire series. Kirk Gibson was a pinch hitter. Kirk Gibson could have had 2 bad legs. Kirk Gibson,
close.
I don't think I don't like the comparison. Besides being game 1 and he had an injury, that's it.
You're right. He wasn't that injured. First of all, the reason he wasn't that he was injured prior. He had a little bit of time off.
He had a triple in the first inning.
That's what I was going to say. He hit a triple, so that's it. He was not as injured as Kirk Gibson, so it wasn't as dramatic in terms of this guy could barely get into the box. No, wasn't a pinch hitter. The home run. How it
landed
happened.
In the same spot.
What? Of course it did. They all had
Did you like the call though? The she is gone because it's the same call as Vin Scully.
Yeah,
it's obviously not as good. And I don't like the Gibby meet Freddie meet Gibby. Like I think I loved Joe Buck's call when he emulated his father. With the game we were talking about the other day, the game 6. We'll see you tomorrow night. That's classic. It's Joe Buck. It's the Cardinals. It's Joe Buck's father. It felt a little forced to me. It felt like he had it ready.
Of course. Yeah,
but you can't prepare for that.
It makes it worse when you're to a point you can. Like listen, you're in Dodger Stadium on the anniversary of Gibson's thing, and it's game 1 of the World Series. If you don't think that was talked about the entire day leading up to it, and they were like, "Oh my God!" and they play. But the truth is, You're talking about a lefty who was injured, who was not only just injured, it's not like he's been Freddie Freeman. He's been in such a slump. It was the most unlikely guy to do it in the situation, not because it's Freddie Freeman, because he hasn't done it at all in the last, month, 2 months, 3 months, not this whole season, really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
So it's just you can't compare. Nothing should have ever come even close to that. It's the fact that we're even talking about it, nothing should ever comes and mirror something like that.
Here it is. Yeah, I have the call right here. Let's listen. Let's see what you think, because I think he talks too much too. You got to let it breathe a little bit after the she is gone. You got to let it breathe. Here we go.
The kind of at-bat that every kid that plays baseball dreams of one day having. You tell yourself, right, all right, bottom of the 10th, bases loaded, World Series, one-run game, Dodgers, Yankees. Reality for Freddie Freeman right here. Cortez delivers. Freeman hits the ball to right field. She is gone! Gibby, meet Freddie. Game 1 of the World Series. The kind of at-bat that every kid that plays.
Now, I think that the setup was perfect, because as soon as he goes Yankees, Dodgers, and then you hear the da-da-da-da-da, and then the pitch, and then from that point on, I wasn't crazy about it. But the Gibby meet Freddie, and I like Joe Davis. I'm not somebody who everybody hates the national announcers because they think they're rooting for the other team. Oh, he loved the Dodgers. Did you hear the home run call? He had it ready. He loves it. The reason everybody thinks that is because they're so used to the homers that their announcers are. Like, even the Mets fan. I was in these Mets groups and they were killing these announcers last series, going, they hate the Mets. I go, they don't hate. All these announcers want, the national guys, is they want a close game, a 7-game series, and big ratings. That's it.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I just have a hard time seeing the Yankees, if they lose this game, being able to come back. If you go down 0-2 and you're guaranteed that you have to come back to LA, they're in trouble. And you look at tonight's matchup, Carlos Rendon versus Yamamoto. Yep. I don't like Rendon. I think he might get lit up. This Dodgers offense, I think the Yankees can do it, but is Judge going to show up? Have you seen what Judge is doing?
Judge 1 for 5, 3 strikeouts. That's the other big thing. Is Judge?
I want to see it. I'm a Mets fan, and I want to see him hit the home run. Like, I watch to see if he's going to do. Soto's getting on base, and you think that he likes having Judge doing nothing behind him?
Yeah, no, and you know what? So Judge is he's a streaky hitter, and I think he feels the pressure. I think that's what it is. I think he feels the pressure. He's the Yankee captain. He's got his contract. Everybody is talking about Judge now. If they weren't talking about the Boone moves in that last inning, it would be all about Judge. Judge has caught a break here today because it hasn't been too much Judge. Yeah. And Judge went 1 for 5. He came up in a couple big spots. He struck out. He's not even putting bat on the ball. And if he hits 130 in this series and they lose, this is going to haunt him until he wins one.
Well, the biggest problem is that, you think like, oh, Judge is going to be back. Judge is going to be back. People, they always think that. We don't know that. You never know if you're going to make it back. You see how hard it was for Judge to get there for the first time. You're all thinking like this happens all the time. The Yankees always are perennial World Series.
They haven't been there forever.
No, and they haven't been. And so you have to grasp that opportunity because you don't know how many of the greatest athletes of all time touched it at one point early, and all Marino's a great example. I'm gonna be back. And they're great. It doesn't change how great they are. They're Hall of Famers. They're going in. They're gonna break every record in the book. But it's the team that has to get you there. And to keep that team together, to keep this team together, they may need to win this World Series.
Well, Stan's running out of juice, right? I mean, as good as Stan is, he's old.
You're getting the best. You're getting the last squeeze out of that orange you've ever had in the entire world. And I'm telling you, Stanton right now he saves that up all year. He doesn't want to get it. And now all of a sudden you're getting, how many? 5 home runs this postseason? And not only home runs, everyone has been like go-ahead home runs in a big spot in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th.
Soto's a free agent. Man. There's no promise that he'll be back.
Yeah, no, there isn't. But who cares about that? Right now, the Yankees need to try and win a game in LA. You cannot. Nobody cares about if Soto's going to be back.
No, but I'm saying
this
team might not.
No,
be
I know. No, you're right. But I'm saying like it's so far beyond that. The only thing that's going to change anything about that is winning these games. So it's like this. It's that pressure, like you talked about. Judge feels the pressure of I need to keep Soto here. I need to win this World Series. What if I never make it back? It's in his head. Like there's no way it's not.
No, it's got.
Like, how can it not be in his head?
It's got to be his head. And Freddie Freeman's so clutch. Like that was such a that's the dream moment right there for a player. For Freddie Freeman, a grand slam, first walk-off grand slam. Do you know that
Nestor Cortez? I mean, Ohtani almost hit that one right before that out.
And the worst is that Cortez said before the series, he's like, I'll miss next year. If I have to go and injure myself pitching, I have no problem missing next year to win a chip this year. And he went out there and he blew game 1.
Oh, it's so rough because you know you're not getting another opportunity now. There's no way you can let him out there again.
No, I think they can. Well, they could be like, remember in the 2001 Young Kim?
In a competitive game, you think in any type of 1, 2 run, even 3 run ball game, Nestor Cortez comes out.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, it's been done in 2001, and they won the World Series. Arizona did it. Remember, they put Young Kim out there 2 days in a row, and it was 2 home runs. And I mean, what if they would have lost that? He would have had to been like suicide watch.
Those were some of the most incredible games ever.
Yeah. Where does last night rank for you in games that you've seen as far as World Series? It was only game 1, so it's not. It didn't
feel like it at the time. Like I wasn't like, oh my god, at the time. I don't know why. I was like, but I wasn't
classic.
Like, yes, no. I even wrote that on Twitter. I posted that right after with the video. Like but it wasn't like, oh my god, I just saw something that I was shocked at. I wasn't shocked it happened. Whereas there's other times where I was more shocked that they were able to. Like I was more shocked by those Mets home runs leading up to it.
Yes.
But like Freddie Freeman, I was like, this guy's been underrated. We've
seen it. The Mets fans know about Freddie Freeman.
Oh my god, no! Every time a ball comes anywhere in the strike zone, I'm pretty sure Freddie Freeman's hitting it in the stands. Like that's the way Freddie Freeman's been his whole career.
And it's hard to hate Freddie Freeman
clutch,
too.
No, the numbers of him being clutch, he's like 18 for like 24 with the bases loaded and 15 home run. It's crazy. Like his numbers were incredible. Like 15 RBIs. It's all crazy. Now he's just been in a slump, and this might open him right up to being back in the game. And let me tell you, these Dodgers are tough, man. So are the Yankees. So I'd like to see what offense gets clicking because I don't think the pitching's going to do it. I think it's whoever's offense just starts, going off for the next 2 or 3 days.
Now, what about the Oswaldo Cabrera play at second base where in the 10th inning where it kind of squirted off his glove? It was a tough play, but if he gets an out there, they never get to Freeman. Was that a play that has to be made?
Tough play.
It's a tough play, right? But I think he could have gotten out. I think he could have kept it in front of him and got the out at second.
Oh, yeah.
And then you still never get to Freedom. Then you only need the 1 out from Cortez.
But you watch how important that defense is. Like, it's the same thing as the play that was up the middle that saved the run from the Yankees from scoring, 2 innings earlier. The
Yankees caught a break too because if Chisholm doesn't steal third, they don't have the infield in, and that's a double play ball, and the Yankees never take the lead in the 10th inning.
It's true.
So there's that as well. It's fascinating. It really
so much goes into it. But then you have the Gleyber Torres error, where that gets Ohtani over to third base, and so he puts him where all of a sudden the sac fly scores Ohtani. So it was a little, that was a double. He should have been at second base. Next thing you know, Ohtani's on third base with 1 out, as opposed to second base with 1 out. And let me tell you, that's exactly the little tiny where the ball bounces. The little tiny didn't make that, relay over to third. Wasn't in the right spot, and it leads to that small ball sac fly, scores Ohtani, ties the game up, and puts them in position where I didn't think the Yankees were going to lose that game after Stanton put that ball over the wall. It's just like that momentum shift is so big, and honestly, that Freeman home run, I mean, it's going to play itself out. We got a lot of games left. But Freeman home run may have won the World Series already.
Well, the Gibson home run
is that's what you see. But I'm saying, like, you look back, it's going to be this game, like one way or the other. I don't care what happens. Like, unless the Yankees going to win the next 4, the Dodgers sweep them. Like, it's going to be probably a game 6 or a game 7, and this game 1 is now going to look real important.
So now let's get. We got the lineups for tonight. The Yankees the Yankees lineup, I think it's the same as last night, right? You got Torres leading off, Soto hitting second, Judge third, Stanton. Oh, so there you go. So they switched. Yeah. So you got Judge, Stanton, then Chisholm, Rizzo playing first base, Volpe, Wells has hit better. I don't know if he got any hits last night, but he was in the cleanup spot in the first series. He couldn't hit. He was like 0 for the world, 0 for 30. They moved him down, and now he's hitting a little bit better. And then Verdugo hitting eighth, and Rendon on the mound for the Yankees. Must win, right? It must win. I mean, it's not, but it is. I don't think it's a must win. I'm not going to say must win for the Yankees.
This is the huge game. It's not a must win. The Yankees can go win, 3 games at home and be right back in that spot. So I'm not going to say it's a must win, but this is you can't. You don't want to get blown out today. And that last night was a heartbreaking loss. You have to show that you can come back, be resilient, put up, a good pitching performance is very important. They might not even have a chance if Rendon doesn't go up and put up, something less than a 2 or 3 spot over 6 innings. Oof.
So now the Dodgers lineup, and I love what they do. And they're the only team that does this, right? They put their best hitter leadoff. He gets more bats. Right?
Well, the Yankees used to do it. Judge used to be leadoff for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, Ohtani's more of a leadoff hitter because he has speed, but he's not a lead. He's a 3-hitter. He's a 3-hitter.
Mets do it. The Mets do it. They change. That's how their whole year changed.
Yeah, I guess you're right. So you got Ohtani, Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, then Freeman hitting cleanup. The Grand Slam man. Edman hitting 5th, so he's moved up in the lineup tonight. Kiki Hernandez 6th, Muncy 7th, Smith 8th. Rojas 9th, and Yamamoto on the mound. Now Yamamoto's been up and down, right? So you might get a stinker out of him too. Yeah. So you never know.
You don't know you have no idea what you're getting out of the pitching staff today. And I honestly don't know what the mentality of the Yankees is going to be after last night. You're going to find out what they're made of today. They're either going to come back full force and get right back in it, or are they going to come out flat? Because if you look at it, I mean, that whole game, neither offense got anything going early. Nothing. Nobody did anything.
No,
until
it was a pitcher's duel. I loved it.
Pitcher's duel.
That's what I loved about last night's game. Is it was a pitcher's duel, but it wasn't. Right? It was a pitcher's duel through the first 6-7 innings. I mean, the thing was scoreless going into like the 5th or 6th inning. And then it was the 2 home run. It was the home run by Stanton that gave it 2-1. Now it's 2-1. But then when you got late, it kind of wasn't a pitcher's duel. I mean, you obviously had the grand slam with the 4 runs, but it didn't turn. It wasn't like a classic 2-1 or 3-2 pitcher's duel. And I thought last night was one of the best. You won't see if they could give us 6 more of those. Forget it. This would be the best World Series ever.
Yeah,
it was an instant classic. And it was a long game. It was like 3 hours and 12 minutes or something. So it was a longer game, but with the pitching moves and the strategy and the great starting pitching and the hero home runs and then the grand slam and Freeman and his father and Gibson, which I don't like. I don't think it has that much in common with Kirk Gibson's home run, Brett. Besides where it landed, besides the day it happened, the minute it happened, I guess. That's it. And the team.
Oh, just everything? Just all of it? Just every single thing?
No, he's not a pinch hitter.
Just a lefty coming up in the World Series to win the game in Game 1 of the World Series on the exact date, the exact minute.
Hits it to the exact
same spot. With injuries hobbled all year, rough year. Crowd favorite. Nah, totally random. Not even close. I don't care, Bob.
I argue.
You're just seeing it because it happened live and it's now. When you look back, we're gonna look back on this differently. Like same way
you don't see anything else from that World Series, right? There's not a single pitch that you see from that World Series except that.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean,
and it was Game 1.
It was the exact same thing you saw last night. We saw a replay. The sports gods gave us a replay of one of the best games and finishes ever. They were like, you know what? They put a
Dodger Classics. Last time was Dodger Classics.
Throw it. They might have. We don't even know. Based conspiracy theories with the election coming up, Bob. We don't even know if we saw a game last night. It was probably. I heard it was just an AI deep fake. And so far, I'm not even convinced it's not. 2 things I'm sure didn't happen. I'm sure the moon landing didn't happen, and I'm sure that
that out
that game that listen, today I believe it.
What about Fernando Valenzuela dying? Right now, they don't know how they don't know what he died. First of all, I've read into it. There was a couple of articles about how he they're not really sure he left. He was announcing their games just 2 months ago, and he left for health issues. And he's dead in a month. But I was looking at his numbers, like for those first 8 games. Brett, it's outrageous. Like, you think DeGrom was great? Forget it. It's he literally 8 straight complete games, 6 shutouts. The 2 that he wasn't shutouts, he gave up 1 run and 2 runs. He was unhittable. And he wasn't
one of the greatest.
He got called up out of nowhere. Like, some guy got hurt and he got called up.
One of the greatest things I ever saw as a kid was Fernando Valenzuela versus Sid Fernandez at Shea Stadium. And
I feel like I was there. Was I at the game? No, right?
Maybe.
I feel like I saw that game.
I don't know. But it was the first time I remember appreciating a pitcher's duel and watching and going, oh my God, how does someone hit that? We were pretty close, and we actually got to see it was a day game, and we got real close. And you're just seeing how they pit, and it was the most incredible thing I've ever seen, those two. But Valenzuela was just, it's amazing. That's it. I didn't know that. I didn't know he was just announcing recently.
He was announcing the games this year. He left in September for health reasons. And then apparently he just died. He went into the hospital and he came. And they're not sure.
I didn't see any. Did they mention it? Is there any patch?
Yeah, no, they did it. They did a tribute to him yesterday. It was they did a tribute to him before the game, and then Fox did a tribute to Vin Scully, where they played Vin Scully, I guess, was throwing out the first pitch in a game like last year. And he's like, he gets up there and he's on the mound, and he's got the ball and he's got a mic in his hand, and he's like, you know what? He goes, I can't do it. I tore my rotator cuff. He's like, I need a lefty out of the pen. Is there a lefty here? And Valenzuela came walking out and he threw the first pitch. He threw a strike and whatnot. But I don't know. It's good. It's good. I think it's going to be a good World. As far as the Yankees being in a World Series, I'm excited for this World Series more than I usually am. Usually I'm just like, oh, the Yankees, I got to deal with this. Like, I'm dealing with my, we got our friends texting us last night in that group chat. It got a little ugly in there because they expect me to root for the Yankees. How do I root for the Dodgers? And I'm not rooting for the Yankees. I'm not rooting for the Yankees. No matter what. They could be playing they could be playing like angels from heaven. And I'm not. They could be playing the death squad from and I'm not rooting for the Yankees. Ever.
Right. And I'm not really rooting against them. Like, I don't really care, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm not actively. I'm not like I'm just not going to be like, yay, they won like this one. Like, that's just not,
because there's no real underdog story here. That's the problem. There's nothing really to root for if you don't have a horse in the race.
Well, no,
it's not like the Dodgers coming out of nowhere.
But listen, no, not at all. And I'm not a big Dodgers fan either, so I don't really like what's going on over there. And Ohtani's a total phony. I know our buddy Joe Beningo had some words on that today. Not a big Ohtani fan. Yeah, and he said his biggest gripe is just California in general. As you know, Joe.
What do you think about? Would you rather the games be? Would you rather be out there and have these games starting at 5 o'clock? Like, that's weird. All 7 games, 5 o'clock for them.
All 7 games are 5 o'clock.
Because it's 8:08. It's 8:08 every game.
Sorry. No, you're right.
So out there it starts at 5 o'clock.
But that's the best you can ask for out there. They're lucky they're not 1 o'clock games.
They're used to it, right? They used to it.
Yeah, no, they definitely are. It'd actually be weird for them. Did you see, even after last night's game, and I was like, it's 11 whatever, and they're like, and get ready, we have the USC game starting.
I was wondering what that was. Yeah,
I was like, what are you talking? And it was Rutgers.
Because it was
Rutgers. You gotta be a pretty serious, hardcore Rutgers fan.
You know what it is? They have a Big Ten game of the week, and it's a classic Big Ten matchup. The West Coast USC against Rutgers. Like
at midnight.
Come on, at
midnight on a Friday.
At midnight. And they're like,
something to watch at the bar.
And they put it on the UPN 9 or whatever. And they're like, I did see that, and I was like, what are they talking about? I'm like, it's not even Saturday. It was right. Last night was Friday night. Or was last night Saturday?
I don't know. No, it was Friday night.
Friday night.
I honestly don't even have the slightest idea what
they do. Fox does Big Ten game of the week, which I didn't know either. And apparently, but that's the Big Ten game of the week. Rutgers and what was it? USC.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Neither one of those teams are Big Ten teams. Like, if you want to be real about it, I know that they are
now. Pandemonium 3,000 miles.
Pandemonium in Piscataway. Who won? Now I'm curious about who won.
Who won?
Did Rutgers
doesn't win. Rutgers didn't win. No,
Rutgers has won like 5 games in the Big Ten.
Sent them on a West Coast trip. They probably had freaking midterms yesterday, and they got flown across the country. They probably drove them in a bus. Rutgers.
It was like a Jets Steelers game. It was 42-20. USC beat them in a blowout. Reggie Bush went back for his eligibility to get his Heisman, and he played.
He is back. He's got it.
Yeah, I know he's got it. But he was like straight up getting paid. But they were all getting paid. Now
well, he just sued them all He just sued them all. He just sued the NCAA for all his money back. Good for him though. That's LA for you.
So what are you watching? What are you watching? Are the Jets on 1 o'clock tomorrow?
1 o'clock versus the Patriots.
1 o'clock. It's a disaster, Brett. I think you got Reddick back too late. It's over. It's 2-5. I have this buddy at work who's telling me, "Yo, we're gonna go 8-2." I go, "What the hell are you watching? That you think this team's gonna go 8-2?"
No, they got to beat the Patriots.
They don't beat the Patriots. They're gonna be talking about leading off these shows with the Jets.
I'm not doing this where the Jets are gonna be 6 weeks from now. I need a we win versus the Patriots. We got a short week. We're playing Halloween Thursday night versus the Texans at home.
Yeah, no, you can win the next 4 games. I looked at the next 4 games.
No, the Texans at home. That Texans short turnaround game is going to be the decider. Tomorrow is a win. We got to win that. If you lose that, don't even watch anymore. If you win that game and you go beat the Texans, I will have hope. There's no hope unless you go beat the Patriots and the Texans in the next 5 days.
Giants are plus 275 to score a touchdown.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't even know. It's just like
you were like, "Where's my phone?" So that's gonna do it for us. World Series Game 2 tonight.
Prediction.
If it's half as good. Prediction. I think the Yankees lose tonight. I think it's a shootout. I think it's like a 10-6 win for the Dodgers. Yankees are in trouble, but I don't think they're dead yet if they lose. I think it could be a must win, but I think they lose 10-6.
I do. I think Rendon has a rough start, and it's going to be up to Aaron Boone if he pulls them quick enough to keep the Yankees in this game, because if he leaves them in, it might get ugly.
And the bullpen is not the greatest thing for the Yankees, and it is it's the powerhouse of the Dodgers. So Yankees, Dodgers, about a half hour away from first pitch. You can turn on over to Fox now with A-Rod and all them, right? Because the real pregame show is about to end here, and you could talk to A-Rod and Jeter. Jeter's weird on TV, right? Who's worse, Jeter or Tom Brady?
Oh God, I
have you heard Tom Brady? I really haven't seen much.
I know I did. I watched the first game, which was awful.
Jeter's awkward.
Yeah, he is.
He hates that they joke around. Yeah. So
he doesn't like that they joke around. He's just so he can't root against. He roots against the Mets. He roots for the Yankees.
He won't say anything bad. He's so like, I can't do anything wrong. I can't do anything wrong. So he doesn't want to say anything controversial.
There's a whole bunch of.
I mean, just in the last 20 minutes,
that doesn't make for exciting TV.
No, because in the last 20 minutes, you told us you don't believe in New England.
Get me whoever or the MLB version of Charles Barkley is and put him up there. I don't care. I'd rather see Trevor Bauer World Series pregame. Sounds like
who's the guy that the Mets had? Who's the guy that the Mets had that they fired because he was drunk?
The Mets had
the studio guy. He was like. I forget who it was. It's like a recent player, like in the last like he was on like the 90s. Yeah. He did the studio. He did it for like a year or two, and he came in drunk one day, and they wouldn't put him on. It was he's a Spanish guy. I forget his name.
You can't.
But anyway, he came in drunk.
You got to come in at that same level. You can't
every
be
day. You're either drunk every day or you
got to come in. Don't be doing extra sips. No extra sips.
All right, enjoy the game, everybody. For Brett Grasso, I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. See ya.